my life that my friends have lost sleep over, probably just part one because I have enough lore that this could make a multi-part series, but we're just gonna start off here as a little intro get to know me moment. I did get this idea by Burnflakes, but I thought it was just too perfect for me. Number one, and probably the easiest thing that comes to mind, is the time I dropped literally everything in my life to follow a former member of One Direction around the country with a bunch of strangers that I met while we were sleeping on the sidewalk in Dallas for a concert. By everything I do mean everything. I was a full-time student at the time with like a 20-hour course load and was also working probably 30 hours a week at a boutique, but was also going through a midlife crisis, and I met these people after I unknowingly went to the first show this member had like after leaving One Direction. So there were a ton of people there and they were like, yeah, we're going to all the shows. Turned into me hopping on a plane for the first time, following this guy around the country and going to all the shows, I think like 26 shows, and then just like keeping the ball rolling because I was kind of like slightly obsessed and in love with the drummer of the opening band. So then I went to 48 shows for that band that year, I believe within the first 6 months of the calendar year, and nobody really knew where I was at any given time. I would just kind of go to the next city and people would check my location. At one point when I was at work for a week, somebody came up to me and thought that I was working on Harry Styles' tour. I was gone so much and in so many obscure locations. The next one probably around that same time is whenever I had a debilitating shopping addiction. And when I say debilitating, like truly it was concerning. I was ordering Love Shack Fancy, Cook sets, if you know, you know, Gucci belts, David Yurman jewelry, like on a random Tuesday to my college apartment. That was just where all my paycheck went, simply, and I really couldn't do anything about it. I was looking for an escape, I guess, in a variety of forms. The next one we could say it made them lose sleep literally and figuratively is the time I went to a random town in Tennessee and got a pet pig out of somebody's backyard and just brought it back home that day, and it slept in my bathtub for 2 months. I jokingly told my roommates the day before I was thinking about getting one, and then just kind of came home with no preparation for them. They found out about it being on other people's Snap stories, and then I didn't understand why they were mad because I knew I was being serious the day before. They just didn't. I'm so sorry if you were one of my former roommates and I existed. And then after I could no longer keep the pet pig, I did have to give them to the local fraternity where they kept him for a few weeks. They even got him registered as an ESA and let him live in the fraternity house, and they honestly treated him very well. The last one's probably going to be the time that I moved to Alaska within like a 3-day notice of finding out that I had an opportunity there and then going. I ended up moving in the middle of the winter, which I don't like the cold, and there were only 8 hours of sunlight there. I knew nobody there. It was a town of 2,000 people that you could only reach by ferry or seaplane, and the nearest town was 5 hours away. And I wouldn't say my mental health was at peak performance there. So kind of all I got at the top of the dome right now. I'm sure there's more things that'll come to light. So if this is at all interesting to you, let me know and I'll make a part 2.